know it by something else, I think. These are exactly the principles of direct marketing, and what I've been trying to convince you of this morning is that when you apply those principles in these new media, in these new channels, they work equally well there. So take Stan's example and take the Charles Atlas training course. You indeed are masters of the universe. And what you need to do is take what you know in the traditional world and apply it into these new media. So that all sounds pretty obvious, doesn't it? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson. So there was a time when this was said about something that you're all familiar with, that this particular thing had too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication, and the device is inherently of no value to us. Who knows what they're talking about? Any guesses?
TV.
No,
TV.
it's not TV. Telephone.
Telephone.
So just a little bit off. Western Union in 1876 writing a memo on the potential for the telephone. That device just might catch on. How about this one? We don't like their sound, and guitar music is on the way out. Beatles, January 1st, 1962. They chose the band, the Tremolos. Good call. How about this one? Needs a stronger supporting cast, almost totally free from humor. What do you think that is? It's very good. Seinfeld, most popular situation comedy of all time. So the point is that sometimes things that seem obvious actually take a high degree of determination to actually make them real. So in that spirit, I want to talk about key requirements for making that capability model real in your environment. The first thing I want to talk about, if you want to reach and engage your audience, it starts with knowing the differentiated value of your customers. Those that are worth more than others deserve a disproportional share of your marketing investment, and they deserve to have their engagement experience personalized based on that information. It also requires a partnership ecosystem. What I mean by that, to really make this work, it requires the ability to share, to match, and to anonymize information that advertisers and publishers have, so that the ability to connect what you know about a desirable customer can actually come into play when that consumer is out living their life and they show up at one of your publishing partner websites. Now this is extremely important because in the television world, when you leave this center today, if you wanted to, you could have your media buying agency buy $100 million worth of television commercials on the phone. The overhead cost associated with buying that $100 million is about 2%. If you were to try, first of all, if you were to try to buy that in the online world, you would fail, right? The other thing that would happen is you would find out that most of that $100 million actually goes to overhead. 28 cents on every dollar of an online advertising buy goes to overhead. It's just too hard. So having a partnership ecosystem that allows the free-flowing connection of information that you have with the publisher and has the business processes and policies in place to make that flow smoothly is exceptionally important if you want to scale what you've learned in the offline world into the display advertising world, or for that matter, in the mobile advertising or television world. To make multidimensional insight go, you need two things. You need a high-performance matching engine. So the partnership ecosystem is about connecting with what you know with what others know. The matching engine is about connecting what you know, but you just didn't know. So the ability to connect disparate pieces of information about customers to create that elusive single view of the customer is really an important engine. And we believe to do that, it requires not only the math to be able to compare information from different channels, but it requires a knowledge base. And we know that the combination of the math and the knowledge base is the single most accurate way of drawing that single view of the customer. It also means that you need to retool your analytic and your creative mind people, your human capital, to be able to think in multidimensional terms. And that requires a fairly healthy education process. In terms of the central nervous system, my recommendation here is to not go down the path of trying to build that Uber warehouse. All you're doing is ordering up the next tombstone in the cemetery of failed IT projects. Don't do it. Play the data as it lies. Create a logical central nervous system that allows you to get in market quickly. And my experience doing this with major brands indicates that you can in fact be in the market in less than a year with that particular approach. And lastly, to personalize and to coordinate engagement, you need to have the ability to connect the insight that you have to the moment when consumers are engaged with your brand or your advertising, and to be able to do that on a real-time basis. Okay, I promised you money, so I want you to think about return on investment in two ways here. There's big money and there's easy money. Big money, as the name implies, are those organizations that have crossed the 100 million a year barrier. So a major technology firm that's consumer-oriented using these principles, $200 million in incremental revenue a year, driving $4.5 million in operating expense savings. A major financial institution, money center bank in New York City, $100 million a year in earnings before interest and taxes each and every year. And a major consumer goods firm generating $500 million in incremental revenue using that capability model. So the model that I've shared with you requires a significant amount of management attention. It is a strategic decision. The thing that I want to leave with you on this is that don't go just for the big money. You need to be able to show progress along the way. And progress along the way is about applying narrow casting principles within single channels. That's what some of these particular examples are. Or to take just two channels and to arbitrage the contacts across, for example, print and email. And we did that for a major media publisher in the US. They, in turn, got 4 times the revenue per communication just simply by doing that. Watching what happened in this channel, comparing it to what happened here, learning overnight, decision engine produces the next logical set of campaigns to go out the door. And I can give you examples across any channel, but the point here is that the ability to narrowcast within a channel and to look across 2 channels is a way to deliver quick financial results to your firm. Okay, we're going back through, I'm going to close here in a minute. Give you another history lesson. So before there was the iPod, there was this device, wasn't there? The Sony Walkman. It was the dominant market leader. Had all the customers, had all the smartest people, had the biggest brand awareness. Why did the Sony Walkman, why did Sony not come out with the iPod? How about this one? Before there was Google, there was that company Yellow Pages. It was the go-to source for on-demand information, but it did not become Google. And before there was Netflix or Redbox or whatever other source is available in Australia for on-demand movie rentals, there was Blockbuster, now in bankruptcy. So again, the go-to source for on-demand movie rental, yet did not come out with the next iteration. So the takeaway here is it's not enough, to have a great customer base. It's not enough to have a great product. It's not enough to have a great strategy, and it's not enough to have a great team. Darwin always wins. So I urge you to think about the capability model of reaching and engaging your audience, so to narrowcast, not broadcast, to think about multidimensional insight, to filter out the false signals that cause wasted opportunities, to think about a marketing central nervous system so that you can scale that in your organization, and to think about applying that at the moment of truth when consumers are directly engaged with your brand. And I promise you, if you do those 4 things, you too will enjoy significant financial success. So thank you very much.